Hey, this is attorney Amy Rebecca here at Atlanta Wills and Trust Law Group. Happy New Year. I just wanted to go live and share with you a little bit about what we have in store for 2024 here at Atlanta Wills and Trust Law Group, where we help women protect who they love the most. We are an estate planning law firm in the state of Georgia, and we focus on helping women. Yeah, we help men as well, but we always do so in an environment where we are mindful and respectful that women approach estate planning differently. And that's what the topic of today's video is all about, is just how do women need to think a bit differently about estate planning, and how do they approach estate planning a bit differently. So first things first, estate planning for women and men use all of the same tools. So estate plans for a man and a woman should have wills. They should have powers of attorney for health, power of attorney for finances. If you have minor children, you should have a nomination of guardianship for minor children. And if you're interested and the need is present for a living trust, you should also have a living trust. And so these are all things that are identical. It's just, how do we want to approach these tools and use these tools? A lot of times it's a bit different. So we're just going to share just a quick few bits and pieces of how is it different. So first and foremost, I am contacted primarily by women, and maybe that's a bit of my advertising and marketing, but a lot of times it's because it's on a woman's to-do list. It's on their mind and it's on their heart to get this done. And if they're in a committed relationship, with a man, it may not always be as high of a priority to get this done. And so a lot of times I'll get a conversation, or I'll get an initial outreach for estate planning from a woman who says, well, my husband's not 100% on board, but I'd really like him to talk to you. So can we set that up? And so, yes, absolutely. We work with women all of the time to get their husband more comfortable with the idea of estate planning and to learn more about it. And so if that's you, that's definitely one way in which I'm approached quite a bit. Reach out to us and we're happy to help set up that conversation so that we can all have a conversation around why is it important to do estate planning. The second thing that's a bit different about helping women with estate planning is that many times they've not looked at either the major details of finances within a family or the long-term outlook of finances in a family. They may be focusing on other things. I always say that when you're in a committed relationship with something, everyone cannot do everything. And so you divvy up. And for example, it could be my responsibility to make sure that the trash cans get to the street every single Tuesday for trash pickup. Maybe that's not my spouse's responsibility to make sure that happens. Now, I might delegate that, but it's my responsibility to think about it. So my mental bandwidth is taken up with the trash needs to go out on Tuesdays. The yard waste needs to go out on Thursdays. When does school start? When does school stop? Not necessarily how we're going to make things happen, but again, sort of these details. And so maybe that's my responsibility. Maybe it's my spouse's responsibility to think about taking care and making sure that there's enough going into savings every single month. And I have access to it, maybe I don't, but perhaps it's my spouse's responsibility to think about that. I speak with a lot of women who have just used their mental and emotional bandwidth for other things in the relationship, but now they're ready to think about long-term. And that long-term includes an estate plan. Maybe it's because they've heard their advisor or an accountant say that it's time to get an estate plan. Or maybe it's because they know already that it's important for that long-term horizon planning in terms of finances and well-being, that an estate plan is important. And so we get that conversation a lot with our clients about long-term. And so we are really interested in talking to women who are ready to tackle that long-term approach and get their estate plan in place. And finally, we approach estate planning um, with this idea that women might have different needs in an estate plan. So if you are a woman and you've never married, or if you've married but you've chosen to have not have children, or you do not have children, you might need something very different from an estate plan. And not everyone is acknowledging that out there in estate planning world, in law firms, and not everyone is taking care of those needs. And so we welcome you to call us here at Atlanta Wills and Trust Law Group. We help a lot of women who don't have children, um, work through the estate planning process and see what options are available for you. And it might look a little bit differently. If you're a mom out there and you have adult children like I do now, then you might have a very different need out of an estate plan that you would have 10 years ago. Maybe you're no longer worried about the day to day. What is my child going to eat for breakfast? And if I'm not here, who's going to make sure that they're not reaching for the Fruity Pebbles every single morning? No judgment. It's okay. My son and daughter have eaten many bowls of Fruity Pebbles, and they're just fine. They made it to adulthood. So, again, you might need something a bit differently than, say, a woman who doesn't have children. And so you might use these tools a bit differently, and your needs from these documents giving back to you will be different. Finally, you could be a mom who has young children still. Just got out of this period, but just super remember, what my concerns would be. And, it's different. It's very different than, say, a mom of adult children, a mom of teenagers even. And then on top of it, if you're a woman out there, don't have children, then again, these needs are going to be different. And we need to do estate planning differently for each of them. It should not be the same document. It shouldn't be cookie cutter. It should be exactly what you need out of these documents. You're paying good money for it. You're paying for legal advice about how to use these documents, and you should get what you need out of these documents just as much as just getting the piece of paper handed to you. So that's what we do here, and that's what we do differently here at Atlanta Wills and Trust Law Group. We specifically help women protect who they love the most. And again, that person could be yourself, 100% acceptable. So reach out to us here at Atlanta Wills and Trust Law Group. Let us know if you have any specific questions, and we're happy to answer them. Beautiful New Year. Happy New Year 2025.